Hi everyone and welcome back to Yoga Berry. Today I've got another S-curve practice for you. So really good for those with an S-curve. Doesn't matter if it's left lumbar right thoracic or a right lumbar left thoracic curve. I really hope that you enjoy this. Will be great practice to de-rotate the spine and lengthen the spine as well. So if you do enjoy it, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, leave me some comments below. That would be really lovely. I'm Christine Jareggi-Berry. I'm a yoga teacher specializing in yoga for scoliosis. I also run a lovely and supportive Facebook group called Yoga for Scoliosis Community, which you're very welcome to join. It's a great way to open up the conversation, meet some other people who are going through the same thing as you do. So let's get started with our practice today. So all that you need today is maybe a couple of small hand towels, or I'm using these eye pillows or little bean bags if you want, which are really good, but you could just fold a little washcloth or a towel this way as well. It kind of depends on how severe your scoliosis is, how big the rotation. So you can adjust it accordingly. But let me just show you what I mean by that. We're going to start. I've got a couple of poses for you today. The first one is lying on the back. So we're going to lie on the back and have the feet flat on the ground. Now, for this one, I sometimes say cover your yoga mat with a blanket, but for this one, I would suggest that you have quite a firm surface. So you can feel a little bit more what's going on in your back, just lying on your back. And take a few breaths just to settle. Allow for the body to settle down into the ground before we even think about doing anything here. So just take let's take 3 or 4 really deep breaths, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Just 3 or 4 of those. With every exhale, just noticing how you're sinking a little bit more into the ground. Just connecting with yourself, noticing how you feel today. So we've been here for about a minute or so, and this might not be long enough. You might need to take a few more breaths. But just start to bring your awareness to your back. So S-curve scoliosis, it's not only that the spine is curved like an S or an inverted S. Both of them are called S-curve scoliosis, even though the other side doesn't look like an S. It's not only the side bending, but there is also a rotation in the spine. So there will be the parts where the curve is going to, that's what is coming out, and that's what's rotating outwards. So they will be the parts that you feel a little bit more pressing into the ground. So for me, my main curve is a left lumbar curve. So there's definitely more pressure onto my left side of the back of the hips than on my right side. So I almost feel like I have more contact with the floor on the left side. Right thoracic curve, that would be your rib hump side. So anyone who's got a rib hump knows where it is, hopefully. So right thoracic curve, convex side, going to the right. I know there's different expressions and I'm trying to use all of them. Just to get you familiar with the terms, and hopefully one of them will make sense for you. It's not a straightforward thing. But basically, right thoracic, left lumbar curve. So let's take this as an example. The right side of the thoracic spine will press more into the ground than the left. So it depends on how much of a rotation you've got. it might just literally feel as if there's more contact on the left side and more contact on the right side and hardly any contact on the left. Or it might even slightly roll you over. So it's different sensations going on, and I just want you to notice at this point without changing anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to de-rotate the spine in a very, very subtle way for this curve pattern. And again, I'm mentioning left lumbar, right thoracic, because that's the most common one. But obviously you can change it around if you actually have the opposite curve pattern. So I'm starting with my lumbar spine because that's the main curve. So wherever your main curve is, or if both curves are the same, then it doesn't matter where you start. And I'm going to bring this eye pillow here underneath the left side of the hip. And I'm not lifting the bottom up, I'm just rolling slightly to the side and wedge it under. So it just gives me a little bit more lift on the left side, and it means the right side can drop a little bit more. So this for me is such a relief already. It feels so much better. Now for the upper spine, what I'm going to do is, so right thoracic curve, I'm going to bring this under my right rib hump here, and I only have a slight one, so I don't actually need much height, but just to show you, so this is slightly too high for me. But I just kind of stick it in there, wedge it under, and you have to take the arm slightly higher so it's not in the way. And again, this means that the left side can drop and release. And again, you can tell this is such a relief for me, and I feel my left ribs are really poking out usually, and this really helps to release that left side of the rib cage. So it's really, really lovely de-rotation. So don't worry if this feels completely different to you than it does for me. Again, scoliosis is very individual, and it really depends on your exact curve pattern. If you have a very, very large rib hump, if you have quite a severe scoliosis, this might not feel nice for you. So this might feel as if you're completely rolling over to the left if this side is even lifted more, in which case you can try and just kind of stuff something under the gap under the left side and even the upper body out. So it takes a little bit of experimenting, but I just really want you to spend a little bit of time here and just explore what's going on this way. So great exercise to increase your body awareness. Good. So once you're there, once you're set up, there's nothing to do. You just really literally spend 5 minutes here, allow for the body to release. So this is our practice number 1. So we're going to take the support things away now and just start to move your knees from side to side, just like a little windscreen wiper, just kind of from side to side, mobilizing the spine. So knees moving in the same direction. And then slowly rolling yourself over to the side. And we're going to come up into all fours for the second part of the practice. Good. So the second pose that we're going to do is called extended puppy pose. And we're going to bring the knees hip distance apart and then tuck the toes under. We're going to bring the hands slightly further forward off the shoulders and come up onto the fingertips. This prevents you from kind of dropping into the ground. So you need to slightly engage through the core and lift yourself off the ground slightly. So by that I mean we're not collapsing, but there's a little bit of a lift up from the front body. Good. So from there, we're going to think about our curve pattern again. So again, I'm mentioning left lumbar, right thoracic spine. Let me just come up. So left lumbar, right thoracic, left lumbar, meaning that this side is squashed. It needs to lengthen. The concave side needs to open. In the thoracic spine, the concave side is the left, which needs to open. So that's exactly what we're going to do in our extended puppy pose. We're going to start to send the tailbone back. And notice that I'm not rounding. I'm just literally, I'm tipping the pelvis slightly forwards, lengthening through the spine. Tailbone is moving into the opposite direction as the crown of the head. Crown of the head is moving forwards. So really lengthening through the whole of the spine. And your legs will have to work quite hard here. Then from there, I'm slowly going to shift my hips over towards the left. So this is to create some space in my right waist. So again, this is for the left lumbar curve. So creating space in the right side of the hips. Now, right thoracic curve. We don't need more space here. This is your rib hump. That's your side. I'm actually going to turn that hand slightly out. So this squashes the shoulder blade back in towards the spine and lengthening the left hand slightly away. So this, obviously, this looks quite complicated and there's lots of detail going on. But once you get the pattern of your curve, you will instinctively know what to do, which side to lengthen and which side to needs to kind of move back in a little bit more. Good. And then to release, we always come back to symmetry. So just extending evenly. And then you can release into child's pose for a few breaths. And then slowly bringing yourself up. Good, so I really hope that you enjoyed this practice. I do have a few practice videos on YouTube with S-curve scoliosis, so I try to mix it up a little bit. I try to give you different exercises, so just have a browse around and see if you find anything else that you like. And I'll see you very soon for the next video.